Our class today will be on market structures. So in this class, we're going to look at our 4 key markets that are under review. So we have what is called the perfect competition, the monopoly, the oligopoly, and the monopolistic market. So a market has certain characteristics that it's identified by. In terms of the number of firms, if we're dealing with a perfect competition, there are many firms. The average size is small, and the goods in nature are same. We use the term homogeneous. There are no barriers to entry, meaning anyone can move in the market or leave at whatever period they feel so. So there's no government intervention in this market structure, and output decisions are not restricted, so it can produce as much as can be. Issues of interdependence. So in this market structure, firms are independent of each other, so they don't consult, they produce independently. So profit-making possibility is very low, especially in the long run. So you've been in the market for some time and you realize that in the short run, for instance, those selling perfumes that are not branded, they'll make their profits in the short run, but as people join this market, they will consume the profit available, thereby leaving little to no economic profits. So in this market structure, profit is maximized when price is equal to the marginal cost. And the implications of the curve is that it is horizontal, and profit is maximized when MR is equal to MC, and the MR is actually our price. So for a perfectly competitive market, the curve looks like this. The price is actually your average revenue. It's the same as the marginal revenue. So this market structure, if you want to join, you can. The cap is called your average total cost. The Nike is called your marginal cost. So where the marginal revenue meets the marginal cost, this is where the profit is made. So this is a profit maximizing point. This is how the graph looks like. Our price and our quantity is here. So this is our short run curve. So what happens in the long run is that your costs of production will go up. So when it goes up, our profit will be depleted. So this is the initial profit that you make. But as more people join into the market, everyone is selling handbags, so the market will be eaten up, so leaving you to only making what are called economic profits. So this is a point where you need to shut down, because further than that, your costs will be a little bit higher than your production costs, causing you to make an economic loss to operate at this point here. So this is where the economic losses are. Any questions so far? Any questions?
No, it's clear.
Then we go to another market structure, which we call a monopoly. A monopoly here, there's one major firm. This firm should sell unique goods and services. In your mind, you should have Zesco. Then the average size of the firms is very large. So these are firms that have economies of scale, and there are significant barriers to entry, meaning in this market structure, you can't easily enter or leave the market. So in this market structure, the government has significant interventions where they get to regulate the prices to avoid unnecessary abnormal profits or price discrimination. So the output decisions here are restricted. So there is no competition in this market structure. There's only one major seller, and profit-making possibility is high. They make abnormal profits in the short run. So here the price is usually greater than the marginal cost, and the demand curve is downsloping, and elasticity is inelastic. So profit is maximized when the marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So if you're looking at the curves, they look like this. So here we say the demand curve is downsloping. So our demand is actually called our average revenue. This is the demand. And the marginal revenue is here. So we're doing the curves, we do our cap, and we do our what? Our Nike. I call it a Nike or a Chongedwe, so that you are easily able to draw this curve. Most people who are not economists find it a problem to draw these curves. So we said where they meet marginal cost and marginal revenue, this is a profit maximizing point. All right. So at this point here, this is where the profits are made. We call these abnormal profits, A, B, C, and D. So in your mind, what market structure are we looking at? The market structure pertaining to ZESCO or utility company. So this is a market structure here where the marginal revenue is good marginal cost, so we don't have competitors here. Then we have another market structure which we call oligopoly. In oligopoly, we have two or more firms. They are large in size and they produce both heterogeneous and homogeneous goods. So government intervention exists to some extent, and the output is restricted. So decisions in this market structure is interdependent and profit-making possibilities are high. The price and the marginal cost relationship is such that the price is greater than the marginal cost, and the demand curve is kinked. And price decisions in this market structure are strategic. So they make decisions interdependent. Okay. Are we together so far?
Yes.
So this is how the curves look like. In this market structure, like I said, firms make interdependent decisions. So we have firm A, firm 1, firm 2. So they meet at this kink. So the demand curve will therefore come out something like this. So when you get this line here, and that line there. So our demand curve will look like this and that. So this is our demand curve. Okay, so this is what we call the kink. And here is your demand or the average revenue. And this is your marginal revenue. And here is where we have our what? Marginal revenue gap. This is a marginal revenue gap. So this implication of the kink is such that since decisions are interdependent, when firms with a market leader, of course, decide to merge their business plans, they'll make it in a way that all decisions are interdependent. So should one firm decide to charge higher than the other, they'll leave him to make a loss. But if somebody goes cheaper than them, they'll go far below them within the marginal revenue gap, so they put them off the market. So this is the implication of the kink. So let's do a quick, can you remember on what has been discussed so far? So before we proceed, we can also look at monopolistic. If number of firms, there are many, the average size is small to medium, the nature of the product is differentiated. The barriers to entry are few, and there's little or no government intervention, and output decisions here are restricted. Then each firm here in terms of interdependence, are independent of each other. They don't produce according to what the other has done. In fact, they are competitors. Profit making is medium, and the price to marginal cost relationship is such that the price is and should be above the marginal cost. The demand curve is downsloping, and profit is maximized when marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue. So the characteristics, once again, to take them through. So what did we say? A market is simply what? Market structure simply refer to an organization of characteristics of markets on how they interact with each other and with other customers. So using just quick points of each of them, when we're dealing with a perfect competition, there are large numbers of buyers and sellers. So there are many and they are small. The goods are homogeneous, meaning all the products are identical. Consumers and customers perceive no difference. So when you're buying tomato from this firm to the other, you see little or no difference in them. There's free entry and exit in this market, so anyone can live without significant barriers. There's perfect information, meaning all the players in this market who have complete information about the prices and the products. No wonder when you're going to buy tomato, you know it's 1 kwacha. If somebody sells more than a 1 kwacha, you just buy elsewhere. You switch. That's why it is elastic. So there's no need for advertising and branding. Since the goods are identical, there's no need for advertising to differentiate them. Profit maximization here. Firms will aim to maximize their profits by producing at a point where the marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So examples of such markets are products like agricultural produce, wheat, beans, tomatoes, and there's efficient allocation of resources in this market structure. Okay, there's efficient allocation of resources in this market structure. So we went on to look at another market structure, which we call monopoly. And what should come into your mind in a monopolistic market structure is ZESCO. So in this market structure, I said there's a single seller who dominates the market, and the goods being produced here are unique in the sense that there are no close substitutes. There are huge barriers to entry, and there are significant barriers that will prevent firms from entering this market. So the producer is the price setter. So meaning in a monopoly, a firm should have considerable control over setting the price. Whereas in a perfect competition, we are price takers. We take whatever price is there. In this market, there's no competition because the firm has direct control over raw materials. Okay, so examples of such could be utility companies like ZESCO, patented drug with no generic alternatives, and some tech companies. So possibility of supernormal profits in the short run and long run is there in this market structure. Other possible characteristics for this could be there's potential for inefficiency because there's no competition. So monopolies will lack an incentive to compete. That's kind of a disadvantage. So sometimes where ZESCO may have outages, power outages, so they will not be bothered so much because there's no competitor around. So the regulation, governments here regulate monopolies to protect the consumers from abuse of market power. The natural monopolies, like industries, tend to lend themselves to monopolies such as utilities that require expensive infrastructure. So this is a characteristic for a monopoly. Then we have another market structure, which is called oligopoly. Oligopoly, I'm just from explaining it briefly. So here are the characteristics of an oligopoly market. In an oligopolistic market, there are a few large firms which would join together to form a cartel. So there is absolute interdependence where one's action will directly affect the others, leading to a strategic decision to be made. So there are huge barriers to entry to prevent new players from entering this market structure. The goods in this market are both homogeneous and heterogeneous, And products here may be similar. They may also be differentiated depending on the industry. So in terms of pricing power, oligopolistic firms will have some control over pricing due to their market share. Of course, there's a market leader in here who will determine what price to go for. Collusions. Firms here may collude to limit their competition, leading to illegal behavior. And this is where we have what is called game theory. There is also mutual interdependence, where firms will often engage in strategic decision-making based on the actions of their competitors. Examples of such firms will be the automobile, the smartphone manufacturers, major airlines which operate in an oligopolistic market. There's also what is called non-price competition, where firms using advertising and product differentiation will merge. There's a game theory here where oligopolies are often analyzed using game theory to understand their competitive strategies. It's an interesting market. You will be interested to understand on their strategic decisions that they make. At your own time, read in depth. Lastly, we've spoken about a monopolistic. This is not a monopoly, but a monopolistic market structure where many buyers and sellers, like in the perfect competition, who easily set up their own structures. Product differentiation. This is one which is slightly different from perfect competition because there's heavy product differentiation and goods are heterogeneous, perceived unique. We have Colgate, we have Fresh, Aqua Fresh. All is toothpaste, but different because it's being differentiated. So for that reason, there's some control over the pricing because firms have degree of control due to their product differentiation. So in terms of barriers to entry, there's some barriers, some relatively low barriers to entry because it's not as low as in a perfect competition because of wanting to be unique. Advertising and branding is the order of this market structure because firms want to differentiate their products and they make short-run possible profits, which end these firms' successful differentiation. So firms such as restaurants, clothing, brands, personal care products, cosmetics are examples of such monopolistic firms. There is non-price competition in this structure where firms will focus on other factors like product features or customer service. The product development, firms usually invest so much in research and development to create and make their products unique. So this is how the market structure should be explained. Are we together? Is it clear?
Yes.
All right. So we end here.